Hello. I want to run through how to add a Moodle Collaborate to your course and also think about some of the decisions you need to make to do it correctly. I'm looking at a course that I teach on ICC here, and I'm about to add my Collaborates. The first thing I need to do is turn editing on. Now, I already have editing on, but to do that you come to the administration block and you'd click on turn editing on here, or you can come to this gear wheel, click on that once, and turn editing on will be an option here as well. Next, I need to think about where I want to put my Collaborate. There seem to be two obvious candidates. I could add one here at the very beginning, which I use again and again for each session, or I could include one in each week. I imagine that each department will have their own preferences, but I'll run through an example of each so that you can see the thinking process for each of them. One way to help you make the decision is if you think of a single Collaborate activity a bit like a normal teaching room. So, for example, if you have two lecturers teaching on the same course, one teaching week 1, the other one teaching in week 2, you would only need one lecture theatre that they would use alternately. And in the same way, for lectures, you would only need one Collaborate activity called lectures. Or, if I'm running 3 tutorials on the same day, I would only need one teaching room and the students would come at a particular time. Similarly, I would only need one Moodle Collaborate and the students would come at their particular time. It would be possible to have 3 different rooms, but that would be a bit awkward for me because then I would have to move out of one, reload all of my materials into the next one, set up the session, etc. Let's put 2 on this course. I'm going to put, say, a lecture one here at the very beginning, and so I'll click on add an activity or resource here, the same as I would if I was adding some lecture notes or a reading. The usual menu appears and I scroll down and here is the Collaborate activity. I click on it once and add. The only field that you have to fill in is the session name, and let's just call this lectures. The box underneath, the description, is what the students will see when they click on the activity, and even if you leave this blank, it's reasonably obvious to them what they have to do. They'll just be taken to a screen with a green button on it saying join session now, and I'm sure they'll all join it. However, it is a chance for you to give some useful information. So if I just paste in a simple message and ask the students to come on time and set things up in advance, then I can scroll down a little further. If I click this, it just means that the text I've typed in here will appear on the Moodle page, possibly not necessary. And as we've decided just to have one lecture space at the beginning of the course, I want it to not have a limited time, but just to be available during the whole course. So I'll start it from now, which is the default date that appears here. But instead of having a duration of 1 hour, I'm going to select duration of the course. What this means is that students or teachers can enter the activity at any time, but there'll be nothing there, rather like an empty teaching room, and they won't be able to do anything awful or see any materials unless you've deliberately shared them. I'm going to allow guest access. That means that someone who isn't enrolled on this Moodle course will be allowed to join the session, perhaps a guest presenter or perhaps a student who's having trouble connecting to their SOAS account but has some other email that they can use in their own country. And I can decide whether people who have guest access join as just a normal participant, like a student, like a presenter, which allows them to share materials, or like a moderator, which is the teacher's role. And because I'm aiming to allow students who can't get in via their SOAS account, I'm going to join them as participant. This is not graded, so I will leave that at none. I want it to be visible on the module page, so I won't change that. I could restrict it to a particular group, but I think the easiest thing is just to give instructions of when to come and when not to come. One can leave this as the default, but students can mark it as completed. It really won't matter very much, but I'm not going to allow them to tick this because it's going to happen again and again. The others we can leave, and then I just save and display. And this is what the students will see once they click on the Collaborate link on the Moodle course. This is the description we typed in, but as you can see, it's quite clear what you have to do if that description isn't there, that you're going to click Join Session. Also, because we offered guest access, I've got this tab here which has guest links. Now, on this course there are several different groups and each group has its own guest link. You may find that if you don't have groups on your course, there's just one, but main session is the one that you probably want to use. And clicking this purple button puts it onto my clipboard, and then I can send that link either to my guest lecturer or to my students, and it will take them directly to the activity without having to log into SOAS, BLE or Moodle. I'm satisfied with how that looks, so I'm going to return now to the main course. And now you can see that the lectures has appeared in the general information section. Students and lecturers, when they want to enter it, just click on it as they would normally, and it takes them to this page that we've seen before, and then to get in they just click Join Session, and now they're entering the teacher's room, which we'll cover in another video. You may want to add your tutorials here as well in exactly the same way, and I recommend each teacher has their own room to avoid any possible clashes of timetabling. But just for the sake of exposition, let's add one to each week instead. I'll only do one, obviously. So in the week concerned, I'll add activity or resource. Again, I scroll down until I find Collaborate and add. This time I'm going to give it the title Sam's Tutorials, which seems unambiguous for the students. And again, the description I can leave blank, but perhaps I'll leave them a little reminder of when they should be coming, so that they don't come to the session early. When I'm teaching one group, I probably don't want the other group bursting in. So please don't enter the session early, and then a reminder of when their times are. Now, this one is starting Wednesday at 10 AM, so obviously I need the timing to start then as well. So I'm going to set it for next Wednesday, which is the 25th. And we said 10 AM. If it's set for 2 AM, you can get in a little bit early just to set things up, but I always like to have a bit more time than that in case I'm panicking beforehand. So I'm going to let it run an hour early. That way I can get in, make sure that my PowerPoints are uploaded and that I'm very happy with things so that I'm not rushing at the last minute. And it's going to run for, and here I have an option. I think I'll just leave it to run for all of these. I really don't want to set up another one for each class. So let's see the options. These are all minutes or hours, and we need it to run for a couple of days, so I'll let it run again for the duration of the course, but it will of course be redundant after that week has gone. I'll allow guest access again and make them just a normal student. The other things we can leave the same. I'll just check, yes, it is visible on the Moodle page, and that's all. I'll save and return to the module. And when I get to the page, I can scroll down and see my activity is here. This time, if we click on the link, we're taken to that same page. We've got the tab for getting the guest link and the little description we put at the bottom here. But you notice the green button that says join session is not there, and neither the teacher nor the students will be able to get into this session until the start time, which we set for 9 o'clock so that we were well prepared for our 10 a.m. class. If you'd put 10 a.m. you would still be able to get in about 10 minutes earlier. I hope that's been useful. They're very simple to put up there, but you will need to agree as a department whether or not you're going to have one here or whether you're going to have a separate edition for every week. Obviously, setting up one is a lot faster and simpler. Bye for now.